October 17th, 2013. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 31 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and Dr. Mike, what is it about your family and them crushing our football pool?
No, they know how to pick football teams.
Good grief.
Everyone in the family but me.
Yeah, that's right.
I have 2 daughters and a wife, and they're all experts at football. And you know why?
Why?
Because they don't follow the games.
Uh-huh.
They don't know any of the players.
Uh-huh.
They don't read injury reports like I do.
Yeah.
They don't look at the newspaper every day and read articles. They don't follow anything on the internet.
Uh-huh.
They don't look at the injury list. They don't do any of that stuff. They just, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. And they win football pools.
It's so funny because we're 6 weeks in. Your wife has won once. Each of your daughters has won once.
Yes.
So that's 3 out of the 6 weeks.
And twice, I think my wife was.
Yeah, both times your daughters won. If they hadn't entered, your wife would have won because she came in second place.
Right. And I think one other time when someone else won, she was alive with them or something.
Yeah, came
down to the end.
Yeah, she's been in it almost every week.
Right. Well, she has the highest percentage of wins too, I think.
Easily. For the whole season. She's like 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, she should talk to Steve.
Steve Stevens?
Steve Stevens, yeah. She's 75% at picking teams. I bet he can't do that.
No, well, now, see, so what are you going to do because you haven't won?
Well, I'm going to do the only logical thing I can do. I'm going to let my daughters and my wife make my picks.
We should do the same thing for the Wizard of Vegas pool we're in, too. Because we were all excited. One week we went 5-0. It's like, woo! And then the very next week, 0-5.
We could have been 5-0 this last week.
Well, it was close.
It was
the games
close.
That we picked.
Yeah, we won 3 of them.
Yeah,
so
three
for 5.
3 for 5. That's not bad. All right. So we're going to move on to some news. So there's a vice admiral who was second in command at the United States Strategic Command. This is the organization that oversees the nuclear war fighting forces for the military.
Right.
And he was second in command. His name is Timothy M. Giardina. And he was recently relieved of duty for passing counterfeit chips at an Iowa casino.
Yeah, what is the deal with people wanting to cheat?
This story is really strange because this isn't like Archie Karras that we talked about, the last time, who's, a kind of a known cheater and a gambler. This is a guy not just in the military, but high up in the military.
Yeah, he's almost as high as you can get. I mean, he's pretty high up there.
And they don't go into a lot of details, but apparently he was passing some $100, I think they were $100 chips, counterfeit chips, at just this Iowa casino. And I don't know if he made them himself. There aren't a lot of details beyond that. Right. That he was passing these chips.
Well, he must have known he was doing it, because if he didn't and it was some mistake, they probably wouldn't have let him go.
Right.
Right. I mean, it would have been like, well, I didn't know, it's like someone gives you a counterfeit 100 and you just, take it to the bank or something and, hey, this is fake. Well, I didn't know they gave it to me at the ATM.
Right. And supposedly it was like $1,500 worth of chips. Wow. So probably $1,500 chips. So, if you had one and it somehow got to you, maybe the casino even gave it to you, didn't know it was, counterfeit.
Sure.
So he's not currently under arrest. He was relieved of duty. He was demoted, and there's, I guess, a naval criminal investigation going on. But if he's not ultimately arrested, we may not find out the whole story here, which would be too bad. I'm curious as to what actually happened.
Yeah, well, I wonder why some guy in his position in life would throw away your life for $1,500 in fake chips.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can't imagine that he makes under $200,000 a year income, right? In that position.
Yeah.
I mean, for $1,500 in fake chips, it's crazy. He just woke up one morning and said, I know what I'll do today. I'll flush my life down the toilet.
I hope we find out more, because if he made these chips himself, that's a pretty interesting story.
Right.
Or even if he was in cahoots with somebody, that's an interesting story.
Right. There probably is somebody who made them and he just distributing them somehow.
Yeah, it could be. I did read one article that said it was maybe poker related. And I was trying to figure out how that would work.
Poker related.
I don't know. Maybe he would go into the casino, into the poker room, and just like buy a rack of chips. You'd go up to the table, just, here's 100, give me a rack of chips.
Yeah.
And do it. I don't know. But again, we're just getting kind of vague information about it. So
it's not the kind of thing that the government probably wants to give too many details out about, right? Because it's pretty embarrassing for them.
Right. Well, I guess they actually started looking into it in mid-July, and they suspended him in early September, but the news only came out recently. So yeah, they've even been sitting on it for a while. So that's
the Council Bluffs Casino.
Is that the one it is?
The one in
Iowa.
In Iowa, Horseshoe.
Is it
Caesar's property?
Council Bluffs? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. A tribal casino, I imagine.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Well, then about a week later, another military officer, this time an Air Force officer in charge of all land-based nuclear missiles, was also suspended. They said here he was let go for allegations of personal misconduct. Major General Michael Carey. And they made a point to say that the case did not involve drugs, sexual misconduct, or gambling, but declined to comment further. So they made a point to kind of, no, this isn't another gambling situation. Yeah.
They're not all cheaters at gambling.
That's right. They weren't working together.
This guy's just an alcoholic. Probably.
That's probably what it is.
It's probably just some
drugs. It's probably alcohol.
Some alcohol related thing.
Right. It's under investigation for several months for allegations of personal misbehavior.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
probably alcohol. Yeah, probably got a DUI.
Something like that.
Something.
But so anyway, those two things happened kind of quickly together. But we thought it was funny that in the second case, they kind of made a point to, there's no gambling this time.
Yeah.
It's not an issue with that. So
I imagine gambling is pretty rampant in the military.
I would think so, sure.
I know all of my relatives who were in the military played a lot of poker, gambled quite a bit, when they were in Vietnam. I know my cousin played a lot.
Yeah.
And older guys in World War II and stuff did a lot of card play.
Sure.
So, it's something to kill the time and, like to wager a little money.
Well, that's the thing about this case, though, is they say, it was illegal gambling in the case of Giardina, but it wasn't really illegal gambling. It was cheating. And doing, gambling was involved. But illegal gambling is like, we're in the back room playing cards or something like that, right?
Or a high stakes crap game.
Right, or something. I imagine that does happen quite a bit. But this was different. This was quite a bit different.
The funny thing, too, about that is I've always wondered how hard it is to counterfeit those chips.
It's got to be easier than counterfeiting money these days.
Oh, way easier. Well, like the new $100 bill.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much crap in that thing. Yeah. I mean, that would be very hard to counterfeit, I would think.
But did you see that show? You might not have seen it. I saw a show on a guy who was counterfeiting chips. Uh-huh. And, back 30 years ago, it was much easier. You could basically just kind of put a different sticker on top of a $1 chip and make it look like a $100 chip or whatever. But
pass it off real quick.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes when you're at the cage and you're turning in your chips and you have a pretty good stack, for me, it'll be like, a couple of $500 chips and then maybe 400s.
Yeah.
They just stack them up real quick. I mean, if you were good enough to get 100 in the middle there that looked like 100 but wasn't, they wouldn't find out till later.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, they're trying to do new things with chips, like put in little microchips inside and other things that, they can check with. But
what casino were we at where they had the chips had to line them up on a thing and there was a scanner?
Yeah, there's a sensor. A lot of them do have
sensor
that can indicate, that need to see that there's those little microchips or whatever they are in there. But, you go to a smaller casino, something like that, pass some $25 chips or whatever. It's got to be easier than counterfeiting money, but
I'd be terrible at it.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to have a kind of a background in.
Yeah. Well, and you'd have to be a kind of a flim-flam. You'd have to be quick at doing. I'd just be terrible. I mean, I'd probably make, dollar coins out of silver and lose money on the whole deal because the coin would actually be.
It would cost you more than actually putting it together. All right, so let's just agree right now that we won't try to counterfeit chips. I don't know. Can you commit to that?
I can commit to that wholeheartedly.
All right, we'll move forward with that then. A while back, we got an email from listener Matt who was going to a bachelor party at Harrah's New Orleans. I'm trying to think. I think I've only been to one bachelor party in Las Vegas. It was our good friend Mike James.
Right.
You were there too. Have you been to any other bachelor parties?
No, I've heard lots of stories about bachelor parties. I could sit here and tell you about 10 really good stories that probably shouldn't be out over the air.
Yeah, see, all the bachelor party that Mike James, that was fine. There wasn't anything. We could tell all this stuff. Yeah, oh, wait, I forget. Our friend Gary, who we used to work with, right. I forgot. We had a bachelor party for Gary. It was me, Mike James, and Mr. Ken.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
You weren't there on that one, but we went. I forgot about that. But that was a bachelor party. That was the time, I'm sure I've told you this, where the four of us went. We got 2 rooms at Riviera. And Mike and Gary went to their room. And for some reason, Mr. Ken and I got a suite. We weren't supposed to get one, but they gave us a suite.
Yeah.
And, so we're laughing. And it was funny, but it wasn't until years later that I realized we should have switched rooms with Mike and Gary. It was Gary's bachelor party, but right. Mr. Ken and I kept the suite. It was a big suite.
Well, that's kind of how Ken's life was. There was a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Yeah.
And, that was a high and there were plenty more lows to go.
Mr. Ken, we hardly knew ye. Wonder what he's up to. Anyway, we got this email from Matt. So he was going to this bachelor party. He just wanted some advice on total rewards because he hadn't signed up and stuff like that. So we sent him an email back and asked how his trip was. And he said that it went real well. He said at one point he was able to run $200 at a blackjack table up to $2,000. That's good. 10 times your money. Good. But that he gave it all back on 2 hands with a couple of splits and doubles against a 6 showing. Man, that's true. When you're playing blackjack, you can get a lot of money out there. You could have 4 or 5 times your initial bet because you have to resplit or double or whatever against the dealer's 6.
There's one thing I'll never do at blackjack.
What's that? Dealer
has a 6 showing and I've got a pair of 8s. I'm just taking a hit.
Yeah.
Because I split them and I get another 8 and then I'll split that and get another 8 and split it. And I'll end up with, 12 and 14. And then the dealer will make 6 cards to 21.
All right. So I want to make sure that our listeners are clear here. If you're dealt a pair of 8s against a dealer's 6, you're going to hit.
Yeah, I'm going to hit.
All right. Probably the worst of all choices. That's what you're going to do.
It's probably going to save me money in the long run. Right. You know how many times that's happened to me.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, when it happens, you remember, right?
Of course.
It's so horrible.
Don't do that, by the way. I'm just joking.
Anyway, Matt sounded like he had a pretty good trip with all his buddies and everything. He ended the email by saying, how about a show on money management? That always seems to be an issue with people that I gamble with, maybe the limits that you should stick to with your bankroll. And so Mike and I thought we would talk about money management on this show. Although, certainly, I don't know about you, Mike, but I don't have much to say about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can say. The thing that strikes me the most is, what's your definition of money management?
Right.
I mean, everyone has a different idea about that.
Sure. Yeah. So, you hear money management, it's like, oh, what do you have to do with your money while you're at the table? Oh, when you hit this number of bets, put some chips in your pocket or, put this aside or increase your bet now. And that's kind of just all,
hokum.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Right. It's like it's like, oh, I've got a betting system for roulette. It's almost like that, really.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
For me, all I would say about money management is that most people underestimate how big their bankroll needs to be for the kind of betting that they want to do. I think people always underestimate it.
Oh, I'd say by far.
Right? Let's say somebody is thinking, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to Vegas for the weekend, and I'm just going to, all day long, I'm just going to play $5 blackjack, just the minimum $5 blackjack all weekend long. And oh, well, how much you taking? Oh, I'm taking a couple $100.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it.
No.
It's $200 is not going to protect you from those bad streaks. And over a weekend of gambling, just playing blackjack, you're going to hit some major.
Right. Well, I think the thing is that people, they think about a lower limit, like a $5 blackjack table or a $5 craps table, and they underestimate. I mean, unless you're only going to play a half hour, if you're going to play any amount of time, $100 can go like that.
It really can.
Just in a few seconds. So your bankroll has to be enough to give you a chance to win. Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. Me personally, that's my thing with money management. I have to have enough money on the table that I can weather the bad run. and be there when the good run comes.
Yep.
And there was a guy, this is several years ago. I don't even know him, but he was standing next to me and we playing craps and we were talking, and he said something that I'll never forget. He said, well, my whole idea as I'm sitting here is to have enough money for when the big run comes. Uh-huh. And it's true, because you'll go through those, you might have 10 bad shooters in a row, but if you can hold out and be there for that 11th shooter, you might, triple your money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't run out ahead of time. Same thing in blackjack. I mean, if you have $100 at a $5 table, you can get a bad run. You can lose 10 hands in a row.
Oh, absolutely. You could be out of your $100 in a half hour easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
So you have to have enough to cover those bad streaks to be there when the good streak happens. Yeah. When you get,
when you get 8
out of 10 hands, you're dealt a 20.
Yeah. I think that if somebody were going to say, okay, I'm going to play $5 blackjack all weekend, you'd need a bankroll of at least $1,000 and maybe a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
And, this is true even for positive EV games like poker. If you're a good poker player and you're better than the other players at the table, and let's say you're just playing like 3-6 Hold'em, and you're thinking, well, what kind of bankroll do I need to play 3-6 Hold'em, weather the storms, and, start to make money? You're going to need thousands of dollars, because every poker player, no matter how good, has gone on a cold streak. And especially when you're playing negative EV games like blackjack or whatever you're playing at the casino, right. It can just go. So that's all really I have to say about money management is don't underestimate how big your bankroll needs to be. It's bigger than you think.
And getting back to just what you consider money management, I don't know if you remember our good friend Stan Wong.
Sure.
Telling us once that the best thing to do is to walk away when you're ahead.
Yep. Now
that was Stan's idea of money management.
This is funny because this is not Stanley Wong, the famous blackjack
right.
Hall of Famer, right? This is actually a friend of ours who's named Stan Wong.
Yeah.
And he just said that, at any time, at some point when you're gambling, you're up. So just leave when you're up.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is when he said that, he was chastising us.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like we had lost or something. And he was saying, well, the reason you lose, you don't leave when you're up. So I said to Stan, and the funny thing is, I saw Stan's mom today.
Wow. Okay.
And that's why it occurred to me. But anyway, he said to me, well, just leave when you're up. And I said, so if I walk into the casino and I make a pass line bet and the first roll's a 7, I should just collect my $25 and walk away because I'm up. It may be the only time I'm ever up.
And he probably said yes, but then did you ask him, if I go into the casino, I make a $25 pass line bet and 12 comes up, and then I'm never up again for the whole trip,
right?
Which has happened to me. Then what do you do?
Yeah. Then how do I overcome that? The funny thing is when he said, just leave when you're up, we're looking at him like, what? And now getting to that point, I want to make something clear here. I think the best thing to do is to set a dollar limit for yourself.
Yeah.
And, we've done this a lot where we set a dollar limit for a day. I'm not good at sticking to it, but you are.
I'm glad you said that out loud. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
I know I'm not good,
all right.
But I will. I said it. Okay, today I'm only going to go through $2,000.
Yeah, right.
And when I'm done, I'm going up to the room and going to bed.
Yeah.
Well, that never happens to me, but you do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. Yeah.
And you that's a good way to manage your money is to say, okay, I've got $1,000. I'm here for 3 days.
Yeah. I'm
going to take $350 a day.
Yeah.
And if I lose my $350, I'm going to go to bed. So I have, money for the other 2 days. And that's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
One.
If you've got the willpower for it, and not everybody
right.
does.
Right.
But if you do, that's excellent advice.
Yeah. And the other thing besides setting a dollar amount is, set a time limit too.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm going to go play craps and I'm going to play for 4 hours.
Yep.
And then when 4 hours is done, just leave.
Yeah.
Right. Because
that's easier said than done.
Way easier said than done. Yeah. Way easier said than done. But if you're disciplined and you can do that, that's great money management.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a time
I agree.
thing.
And
that happens to us a lot, right? We'll be up. We'll be at a casino. That happened this weekend.
Yeah.
After I had played 4 or 5 hours, I was up, $900.
Yeah.
And if I had just left then, fine. I would have went home a winner.
Yeah.
That's my thing about money management. I mean, if you're disciplined enough to do those things,
Yeah. Oh, of course. If you are.
Yeah. And
if you're
very
not,
hard.
If you're not, well, maybe think about not gambling.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, another thing too, I guess my third thing. So my first thing was, a dollar amount.
Okay.
Third thing was a time
Second
limit.
thing was a time limit.
The second thing was a time limit. And my third thing is think about the rest of your life.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Where you are in your life. I mean, if you're, doing fine and job's going good and everything's going good, well, and you want to stay a little longer and, you can afford to absorb a little loss, that's good.
I guess along those same lines with your number 3, stop if you're not having fun.
Right.
Stop if, suddenly it's scary. You're not having fun anymore. Right. So.
Right. That you need to stop and call that, 1-800 number
exactly,
that they have posted everywhere in the casino that makes you feel guilty every time you look at it. And you ask yourself, should I be calling that number?
We should devote a whole show to that maybe sometime. But let's keep this up and chipper. Everybody loves gambling. Everybody wins. Here we go. All right. Well, another thing we wanted to talk about, too, is a relatively new game called Free Bet Blackjack. This is a variation on blackjack, and I love this game. I think this is great. It's a game that was created by Jeff Hall, who also created Blackjack Switch, if you've ever seen that game, right?
My dad likes Blackjack Switch.
And the analysis for the game, in fact, was done by Stephen Howe over at discountgambling.net. He lives by us somewhere. We're going to have to find him and meet him out at the casino sometime and meet him. So we've corresponded through email, but we haven't actually met him yet. Anyway, here's how it works. Free Bet Blackjack.
You know what? Before you start,
sure.
I just want to say I love the name.
Free Bet Blackjack?
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about that when he made this game, I'll call it Free Bet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect, right?
Yeah.
How can you not play Free Bet?
And the great thing is it actually has to do with the game too. It's not just, there are free bets. So I agree. All right. So here's how it works. It plays just like regular blackjack, except when you double down or split, the casino lets you do it for free. In other words, let's say you have $5 out there and you're dealt a pair of deuces. You can split that into 2 hands. Now $5 on each, but you don't have to put any more money out there. The casino, in a sense, puts $5 for the second hand that you're dealt. Right? And now you're only risking $5 on this split. But if you lose, you just lose the 5. If you lose both hands, you just lose the 5. But if you win both hands, you get 10. They actually pay for the free bet.
Right.
Now, when it comes to doubling down, they'll only do the free bet if your total is 9, 10, or 11. You can double
that makes sense.
Yeah. You can double on other hands like a 2-card soft 16 or whatever, but they'll only do the free bet on 9, 10, and 11. Yeah. And get this, no matter how many cards you currently have, they'll let you free bet double down on 9, 10, and 11.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you're dealt a 2 and a 3, and you take a hit.
And you get a 4.
You get a 4. Now you've got a total of 9.
You can double down.
You can double down.
If the dealer had a 6, say.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. You can double down. Well, even if that's the other thing, is that you would do it no matter what.
Right.
Because it's free, right? It's a free double down. Right. And
chances are you're only going to take 1 card anyway.
Right, probably. Right, exactly. But you're risking that 5 now to win 10 potentially on that double down. So, double down and splitting, they will make the wager for you. And what they do is it doesn't matter how much you've got bet out there. If you've got $35 bet on your hand and you end up doubling down, they just put out this little lammer that indicates that it's their free bet doubling down for you. And then they keep track that way. So if they pay you off, they'll pay you twice.
We could do that in our home game if we had lammers.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Mike.
We don't have
We're
any
lammerless.
Yeah. We're going to have to stop at Gambler's General Store. Maybe they have one in Atlantic City.
All right, we'll see. Maybe we can get some lammers. All right, so everybody's out there thinking, all right, so what's the catch? Here's the catch. If the dealer busts with a total of exactly 22, all bets that are still out there push.
Right. So you could have stayed on your 20, and then the dealer has an 18, a dealer has a 15, and gets a 7.
Yep.
Then your 20 doesn't do anything. It just sits there.
Just pushes. Yeah. So to make it clear, it's just bets that are still out there. So if you've already busted, it doesn't matter. You've lost your money.
And if you already had blackjack?
Yes. If you have blackjack, they'll pay the blackjack right away. You're done with your hand. Good. So the push 22 rule doesn't apply to a blackjack.
I'm surprised they pay blackjacks last just in case that happens.
No, that's another thing. Push. That's another thing too. So so again, just to review, if it's a free double, free split, plus you can double down after splitting and you can resplit.
So let me ask you, in your example, if you had a pair of twos, and the dealer has a 4-up,
okay,
in traditional blackjack, what do you do
for a pair of twos?
Yeah,
you'd split a pair of twos against a 4.
Okay, so now what if you had a pair of sixes?
Yeah,
against a 5.
Yeah.
What would you do?
That's a split too. You're testing my basic strategy. I'm trying to remember all the split hands.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you to a point where you would do it in this game, but you wouldn't do it in regular.
Well, a pair of 6s versus a 10.
Right.
You would never do that. But in this, here's what it comes down to. The basic strategy, and I'll post a link. Wizard of Odds ran the basic strategy for this. And here's another great thing about this game is that the basic strategy for this game is actually easier than regular blackjack because you don't have to memorize that whole split table.
You just always split.
And one thing I did fail to mention too, the one hand they won't let you split is 10s.
Okay.
And big deal, right? You've already got a 20, so, they won't let you split 10s. But on everything else, it's basically, if you can split them, do it. Oh, except for a pair of 5s, obviously you double down on that instead of splitting them.
Right.
But, any pair, just split. That's the basic strategy.
Okay.
So, another nice thing about this game too, if you're playing perfect basic strategy, the house edge is about 0.79%. That's pretty good for kind of a gimmicky, blackjack-based game.
Oh, it's much better than any of the other gimmicky games.
Yeah, yep. So keep an eye out for this game, Free Bet Blackjack. It's not at a lot of places. I think they're dealing it at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. They deal it locally here at Viejas.
Okay.
And even at Viejas, you remember, they'll only do the free bet double down on 9, 10, and 11. They'll do it if that's hard 9, 10, or 11. Okay. That's the way the instructions say. Out of Viejas, according to Steve Howe, they will let you double down if you've got like ace 8. They'll say, that's a hard 9. We'll do a free double down for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
So Harrah's Rincon needs to get that, Alan. We need to... It could be one of our crazy games that we lobby for. Yeah,
I think it's great. As a table game goes, I think it's a great, it's fun. Because, you could potentially, again, I split again, I double down. You could have, 5 times your bet out there, but you're not risking any more than your original bet. So
I like that because splitting and doubling down is typically my curse.
That's what you just said. Yeah. So now what are you going to do in this game if you get a pair of 8s against a dealer's 6?
I'm going to split them.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm just going to take a hit anyway. I don't trust this stuff. Yeah. It's all kind of shaky.
That's right. All right, let's move on to our poker home game segment. This is the segment where we talk about poker games that you will not see dealt in a poker room at a casino, but that you might play with your buddies when you get together for a poker home game. This game we call 25, 50, $1. And I'm going to explain the game under those limits.
Okay.
Okay, but you could play it for any limit, and I'll explain that. But 25, 50, $1, meaning 25 cents, 50 cents, $1.
Oh, so we can play it at different limits if we choose?
Yes.
How nice.
But see, would you call it 25, 50, $1 if you played it at different limits?
No, you'd call it $5, $50, $1,000.
Okay, you weren't even getting the ratios right on that, so no, you didn't. Okay, so here's how the game works. It's a 7-card stud game. Everybody antes. If you're playing at this 25 cent, 50 cent, $1 level, like I'm explaining, I think a good ante is like 50 cents and maybe have the betting at, 50 cents, 50 cent bets and raises. So it's a 7-card stud game. Everybody antes and then everybody gets 2 cards down, just like in regular 7-card stud. At that point, the dealer is going to take the remaining cards in the deck and he's going to start a buy pile by flipping over the first card on the top of the deck. Okay. The player to the dealer's right can buy that card, can pay to get that card for 25 cents. If he chooses to do that, he throws 25 cents into the pot. He gets that card. A new card is flipped over and we move on to the next person.
To the dealer's left.
Yeah, to the dealer's left. What did I say?
You said right.
Oh, my God.
When you said that, I thought, what?
I'm glad I'm not doing this as a solo podcast. We could catch each other. Yes, to the dealer's left. There's nothing weird about the way action moves around the table.
And you actually held your left hand up as you were saying that.
See, because I
can't see that, but you held your left hand up and I'm thinking,
all right. Yes, to the dealer's left. So, again, the dealer flips a card over. The first player, does he want that card for 25 cents? If he doesn't want that card, the dealer flips over another card and puts it on top of the first card. Again, that's a buy pile that's starting to grow.
Right.
The dealer looks at that card. Does he want to buy that for 50 cents? He can buy it for 50 cents and then it'll move on to the next player. If he doesn't want that 50-cent card, he must buy the next card off the deck for $1 unseen.
So you do have to buy a card. You don't have a choice like, I don't want a card.
Right. You have to buy a card. The minimum is going to be 25 cents, the maximum $1. You're going to have to buy a card. You get to see the 25-cent card and the 50-cent card. You do not get to see the $1 card. You've just got to throw in the $1 and the dealer just deals it to you off the top of the deck.
Good game for action junkies because the pot's growing immensely.
Yeah, exactly. The pot grows quite a bit more because there's money going in there that isn't actual bets. You know, it's a fee. Okay, so once that player has made his decision, we move to the next player, to the dealer's left.
Okay.
Now that player, if there's already a card showing in the buy pile, that is his 25-cent card. So in other words, the dealer doesn't automatically flip over a new card for the next player if there's already one showing in the buy pile.
Right.
Now, if there is no card there, because the previous player,
took the first one,
then you flip one over for that player.
Okay. I think we're all smart enough to figure that out.
So it could be that the first player passed on a card that was on the top there, but the second player wants that card, so he can buy it for 25 cents.
Right.
Right.
Or he can not take it and flip another one.
Right.
Pay 50.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't want that one, then he takes unseen the top one for $1.
For $1. That goes around the table. Everyone has that choice all the way around to the dealer, and then there's a betting round.
Okay.
And again, just high card bets. And it, like I said, for these limits, I think 50 cents is probably a good bet and raise amount limit for 7-card stud. All right. After that betting round, again, we start to the player to the dealer's left. And a card is not flipped up. Again, it's not flipped up if there's already a card showing on that buy pile. Even on a new round, if there's already a card up on that buy pile, that's the first player's 25-cent card, right? And it continues around like that. And again, another.
So you have your fourth card.
Yeah, that's on the fourth card. This goes around all the way through a 7th card, which is also one that you buy and is dealt up. So at the end of the game, unlike regular 7-card stud, you're going to have your 2 down cards initially, and then you're going to have 5 up cards.
Up cards.
Right.
Okay.
And for each up card that you will have to have bought it in some way for 25 cents, 50 cents, or $1.
I'm going to add a little wrinkle here.
All right.
What if the $1 card, let's say you pass the first one, you pass the second one, you want the $1 card. Mm-hmm. What if you got that down?
Oh, that'd be kind of an interesting twist.
It'd be an interesting twist. Nobody's seen it, right?
Yeah.
You're taking it unseen.
Right.
They should deal it to you down. So you could potentially pay, $5, right? And nobody has seen any of your cards.
All right. That's an interesting twist. We've never played it that way.
Yeah.
And one thing I wouldn't like about that is it's usually fun when the $1 card is like worthless to somebody.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they got a a 9 for their 25-cent card. No, I don't want a 9. They get a 9 for their 50-cent card. It's like, I don't want a 9. They pay $1. They get a 9. Right. And everybody sees it and blah.
Right.
That's half the fun of cards is, when your friends get screwed. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I mean, you would lose that, but it would be interesting because you're paying $1.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that wrinkle. We'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah.
We'll.
I mean, how important is it to you to hide that card?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. That sounds good. Sometimes when something sounds good, and
I know it doesn't turn out that way.
This wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but maybe we'll try that sometime. So that's basically $25, $50, $1. And again, if you want to change those stakes, you could make it $4, $8, $16, whatever you're comfortable playing.
Well, and
with.
You could add some wild cards in there too.
Oh, you can always add wild cards.
Add a wild card in, play it high, low, declare.
So yeah, that's what we usually do is play high, low, declare, because then, people are kind of initially going for low, like you should do in a game like that. And with so many options that each player has for cards, oh my gosh, you see some big hands both ways.
Right.
I mean, when we play with a full table, it's like a full house for high and the wheel for low. I mean, that is not unusual to see some big hands because you have so many choices of cards.
How about this? $25.50, $1 gets flipped up. You pay $1.50, you keep it down.
$2, I would say.
$2?
Yeah.
Really going to go that high?
$25.50, $1, $2.
You think, would somebody pay $2 just so it's not exposed?
I don't know. See, would they pay $1.50?
Probably.
You think?
Oh yeah, I would.
All right. Yeah, I guess so. If you look threatening, that's true. If you had like a pair of kings showing,
right,
and then it's like, okay,
you had
give
a
me
pretty
this,
good high hand.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, give for 50 extra cents. Heck yeah, I'll keep that down because then I can bluff. I can say, oh yeah, I caught that king. Of course, it doesn't help you if the king comes out to the next person.
Right. All right. I'm sold. We'll try it next time.
Let's try that.
All right, we will try it.
And you know what'll happen. Bill will get burned by it.
Uh-huh.
It's his game.
Yeah, Bill introduced
right.
it. Yeah.
He'll get burned by the down card being wild or something, and that'll start up. And then you'll have your, you'll be able to goad him with that.
All right.
So.
All right. We'll try it.
Okay.
All right. So that is $25.50, $1. If anybody else has a poker home game out there that you'd like us to talk about, drop us a line at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, we have if you go to our webpage, if on the left-hand side, there's a link that says Poker Home Games. If you click on that, it'll take you to a page where it'll show every poker home game that we've talked about and the episodes that we talked about them on.
Okay, sounds good. You're going to post a link to the Wizard of Odds page concerning
free bet blackjack? Yeah, I will.
Yeah, do that too.
I'll do that. Yep.
There's a lot of links. Make sure you look at the links.
Okay. Put it in there. I'll make sure the links get in there. Hey, we wanted to give a shout out to another podcast. It's the Tipping the Odds Las Vegas podcast, hosted by Mitch and Dr. Kev, which it's kind of eerie. Here we're Mark and Dr. Mike. They're Mitch and Dr. Kev. They've been doing their podcast longer than we have. I think they're about the same age as we are.
Yeah, it sounds like they're in their 50s.
Yeah, or close anyway.
Yeah, close to
and
it. I think we're a little older than
them. A little bit. But, it's weird because they've got kind of the same, back and forth, and they obviously love Vegas. We have an advantage on them in that we live in Southern California, and it's much easier for us to get to Vegas. Gosh, back in the 90s, you and I were going every week sometimes.
Yeah, well, at least twice a month.
Yeah, at least twice a month. So, and they're based in Chicago. But give it a listen. Tipping the Odds Las Vegas. It's a Las Vegas podcast. They talk about Las Vegas news and things that are going on at Las Vegas. Yeah,
they do say some funny stuff.
It is. They go off topic quite a bit, and that's some of the appeal of the show, especially Mitch. So, give it a listen when you get a chance. Remind everybody too, we are going to be in Atlantic City, November 8th through the 11th. We'll talk more about this on the next podcast. We'll have one more show before our trip.
Okay.
So we'll talk more about the details when that comes up.
A couple things I'd like to mention before we finish up here.
Yeah.
Number one, okay, there's a girl that works the promotions desk out at Harris Rincon.
Yep.
Her name is Tiffany.
Yes.
And she wants to be a casino host.
Right.
I guess she's applied for that job.
Okay.
So she's very nice.
Yeah, she's very nice.
Very courteous, does her job exceptionally well. So I wanted to put a note into Alan, if you have any pull at all, consider her for casino host. I told her I'd mention it. She's a good.
All right, good. You kept your word. Excellent.
I kept my word. She's a nice girl, young girl. She might be a little too young to be a casino host. I don't know.
Well, you're undoing your recommendation.
Well, I don't know if there's an age limit there, but there shouldn't be. But
she's 21, right?
Oh, I'm sure she's 21, but she's not much over 21. But she's very, very sweet. So I think she'd do a good job.
Okay, very good. That's going to do it for this episode. Email us with questions and comments at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. And visit our website, youcanbetonThat.com, where you can check out our show notes and leave comments. Also, we have a new thing on our page. You can leave us a voice message by clicking on the Send Us a Voice Message link there. That'll open up a dialogue where you can leave a message up to 90 seconds using the microphone on your computer or on your mobile device. So leave us a message. We'll play it on the show.
What do you think the first message will be?
I've already left one. It was, I think, test. Okay. Is this working? I guess I'll listen to it now.
Okay.
And
what will be the second one then? Someone says, "You guys suck."
It'll be Stan Wong complaining about, hey, you mentioned my full name on the show disparagingly. And
Well, it's such a common name, Stan Long.
Yeah, it is, right. Follow us on Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Twitter because we always let you know when we're on our way to a casino or if we're already there. And Mike wants to make a bet for you on the pass line, too.
I'd love to make a bet for somebody on the pass line. It's just not going to happen.
I think Atlantic City it's going to happen.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Like us on Facebook, too. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/YouCanBet on that. And if you get a chance, review us over on iTunes because that helps us get more listeners.
Yeah. You know what? I'm saving one of those brand new $100 bills for that pass line.
I saw that. You got one the other night.
I got one. I got it in my wallet. I'm saving it.
Pretty exciting.
That. Yeah, I'm going to put it down for that.
Of course, when we're in Atlantic City, they're going to be everywhere. It's going to be raining new $100 bills.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. Prove me wrong, Atlantic City.
All right.
Anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right. We'll talk again.
See you later.
Bye.